Hello and welcome back for another episode of The Stage Door, presented by Canberra Arts right here on Rogers TV, filmed in Corner Brook. This week I'm here with Adam Brake of Open Door Theatre. We're going to talk a little bit about Open Door, a little bit about Adam and his work with Grenfell and Theatre Newfoundland Labrador, and some exciting projects coming down the line. So Adam, thanks for coming to The Stage Door.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you back at The Stage Door. Of course, you're no stranger to the show and no stranger to the arts community here in Corner Brook. Born and raised, grew up through Theatre Newfoundland Labrador's youth program, and carried on to become an arts educator. Last time you were on, we were talking about your journey as a writer, and particularly Newfoundland Rocks, which was taking its premiere in Cowhead. That's been a while since that happened, so how did it go?
It went really, really well. I wrote Newfoundland Rocks with my wife, Allison. It's 2 years ago now. It got its first production in 2024. That was super, super successful. Felt really, really good about it. People seemed to like it. And just this last year, it had its second run up at Theatre Newfoundland Labrador, and I actually was in the production that time, which was a lot of fun. Kind of like being in your own thing, and once you're in your own thing, it kind of transforms. It's not yours anymore. I was just doing things as if it was somebody else's play. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to kind of work outside of it and work inside of it, and get to see it from both sides.
Yeah, and it seems to have done quite well with audiences, both local audiences from the province and tourist audiences. So what has that been like to, share your work in that way that, Theatre Newfoundland Labrador and the Grosthorn Theatre Festival attracts a lot of people from a lot of different places. So the pressure's on once it opens up, that you're being seen by people who may just go on theatre trips, and this is a theatre destination.
Absolutely. There was a lot of pressure for sure. It was, I have been writing kind of off and on for my whole career. Luckily, I had Allison there to kind of back me up. Allison's been a writer and an experienced writer for her whole career. So, she had the confidence to say, no, this works, I think. And bringing it to the audience was great. It's a story that we wrote from our heart about a friend of ours who passed. So it gave us a little bit of closure on that moment. And it also, we wrote it because we love the community of Cowhead, and that was a way for us to show our love back. And I think that was what was important about it, and that's why audiences responded, is that, it truly is a love letter to the people of Cowhead and their ingenuity and their fun. And that's what we wanted to talk about, and that's what we did.
Yeah, and I think that's so important to find in these theatre festivals that are in small pockets of the province. It's important to remember and respect that there are locals that are making this happen. Much as the tourism industry helps fill those houses, without that local support and locals feeling that their stories are being told and their voices are being heard, it's all null and void, So I think it's a beautiful thing that that was your take when you got that opportunity.
One of the things that, like, when I've been on even just on vacation throughout the world and places, one of the things that I love more than anything is seeing the stories of the place that I'm in, right? And so really, I've seen a lot of good theater in other places where people tell their story, and I wanted to do that for ourselves. And I feel like I do feel like Newfoundland Rocks, for what Allison and I did, feels like us and feels like Aussie and Cowhead in itself. So that was important to us when we were writing it.
I think that's a beautiful thing. And of course, Allison's no stranger to writing music, but this was a jukebox musical. So what was it like to connect with the different songwriters to say, hey, we want to use your song for this?
It was amazing. I would say that everybody we talked to was like so gracious, gave so much to us. We really, really expected that to be a difficult conversation. It happened in an afternoon. We ended up calling everybody one by one because we needed the way that the rights work for a musical like that is a little different than when you're doing like a concert or something like that. You actually need to get express written consent from the artist. So we had to contact everybody individually and have a face-to-face conversation with them. And it was amazing. We actually found out, so many of the folks were fans of Allison's or mine, and that was a really, really affirming moment for us all. But the other thing was, it's a jukebox musical in that sense, but Allison actually wrote 3 original songs for the show. And they're some of my favorite songs she's written because they were written about people we know and people we love. And I got to I didn't have anything to do with the songwriting process, but I was there when it happened, and it was magical.
It certainly sounds that way. And having seen the show in its first season, it was certainly a great time, and glad to hear that it had a wonderful second year as well. And that wasn't it for your writing. You jumped in with a brand new retelling, in a way, of a popular story. The Effie Dinner Theatre in Theatre Newfoundland Labrador has been a long-standing tradition, and this year that didn't happen in its traditional sense, and it happened in a new way.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about kind of writing children's theatre with your hero dog story.
So yeah, I've been writing children's theatre for the past couple of years for Open Door Theatre. It's something that I just started doing out of necessity, really. And it turns out it's something I kind of love to do. It's a lot of fun, and I was approached by TNL last year to see if I'd be interested in writing a kids show, and they wanted me to write about the dog on the Effie, and I'm an animal lover, I'm a dog lover, and I jumped at the chance to do this. And I wrote the first draft with my absolute companion, Link, by my side, and he passed the day I finished the first draft. And I remember submitting my first draft. I wrote Nick, the artistic producer at TNL, and I said, hey, I'm having a bit of a rough day. I lost my best friend today, but I'm sending you this draft. And it took a lot of work from there, but every subsequent draft, he was in it, and it made a difference to me. And I never really understood that when people said, you put yourself spiritually and all those things into your work, but that work was about, it's about the Effie, and it's about that time, but mostly it's a story about a little girl and her friendship with her best friend, her dog, who not everybody loves all the time because he smells a little bad and he misbehaves a little bit, and the trials and tribulations that come with having a friend and getting into fights and disappointing one another, and then making up for that and apologizing for that.
Yeah.
And it was, so on the one hand, it's this silly play about a dog who likes to roll around in fish guts and refuses to take a bath. But on the other hand, for me, it really is about when you let your friends down, that's not the end of the story. That you can continue, and you can apologize, and you can fix things. And that's what I wrote about, and it was very successful. People seem to like it. I think the fact that it came with breakfast really helped. It happened 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays, so there was something for young families to do in Gross Mourne. Breakfast was served, it was air conditioned, so I think it's a kind of a great experience.
No, it sounds like it. It's a great way for folks in Corner Brook to take that drive out and spend a day in the park, do your breakfast with a great piece of theater and then go on a trail, and then you could head home or stay in the community for the weekend. I think it really opens up a lot of options for families, which is so important because, adult tourism's great.
Yeah.
But having family tourism is really important as well, and things for local families to do and take part in, I think is wonderful. And you're no stranger to brunch theater. You're published in brunch theater. So.
Yeah, brunch theater is, it's cooking, it's doing its thing. I'm actually super proud of brunch theater. It was an idea that I had starting back in 2016, and I had done a lot of dinner theater in my life, and I was getting a little disillusioned with the idea of dinner theater as a form, and I was getting a little disillusioned with a theater for adults who didn't seem too interested at the time. So I was interested in making something for children, and I wanted it to be unique and silly and interesting. And so Open Door Theatre, the first chance we got, we made brunch theater, and it's been a tradition going on 3 years running, and we published the
Brunchthology.
The Brunchthology, which I'm super proud of. And I don't think it would be too much for me to say that we're going to do one more this year. I've got one more brunch theater at least going on up here.
Cooking.
Yeah, with some help from some friends and some students who've put forward ideas. That's the other thing is, like, I feel really, really fortunate that I came up with this stupid, silly idea that I thought was really, really funny in my basement, laughing at it, writing it on my computer. But like other kids and students have like latched onto it, and they've taken this ownership of it, and they have ideas and feelings about it, and that's, to me, so exciting, because if we can create a place for those students' ideas then end up on the stage in front of other people, then that's more than just being an actor. That's being a creator. That's being an artist. Capital A, everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I find that really, really exciting.
100%, and I think theater is so much about that kind of community building. For us at Canberra Arts and Graham Academy, it's the same. Community is first.
Yes.
And to build that, which you clearly have at Open Door, is so important. That people have a voice and they get excited by those silly ideas,
right?
And then it allows them to create and recognize what that process is and have ownership over it.
Absolutely.
I think that's a
all
beautiful
because of
thing
bacon
to
and
hear.
eggs.
Yeah,
right.
So yeah, and of course you are no stranger to arts education as well,
That's right.
teaching at both Grenfell and having started Open Door Theatre, which has some shows coming up.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So first things first, we've been doing, or I've been interested in radio theater ever since the pandemic, really. Certainly during the pandemic, everybody was looking for a way to put something out there and still be creative, and radio theater was a way to do that. But I really do think that it's a great form for young people to investigate theater and really just like sit with the script and do the table work and all that, and make the table work the thing. So we're doing War of the Worlds on October 30th, and it'll be 88 years to the day that it was originally performed. For those that don't know, War of the Worlds was a radio play in 1938 that terrified all of America. It was like the first found footage kind of a thing. In a way, we would call it found footage now, but it was presented as a live radio broadcast. And it terrified folks. They believed that America was being invaded by aliens and that they all needed to hunker down and take shelter. We've changed a few things to move the locale to happening in Newfoundland,
Nice.
just locations and things like that. Other than that, everything's been kept the same. And it's been really fun to watch the kids discover terror and how to create terror. We were talking about in our classes, like, what is your favorite horror movie of all time? And I was thinking about it, and I love horror movies, and I thought about it for a really long time, and I do think my favorite horror movie, the one that gave me the greatest experience in the theater, was the Blair Witch Project. And I think that's what leads me to stories like War of the Worlds, where there's this sort of meta theatrical element where we're playing with the audience, and is this real or isn't this real? And something about that's really exciting to me. I just find that really fun.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great analogy. I think it's so exciting. So I know in the past you've done some work with Foley, which is creating sound effects for radio and for film as well. It's still used. Often the sound of a person walking was not recorded by that person walking,
No,
but
it
is
was
done
not.
much after by people in a very small studio with
That's
lots
right.
of strange things around that make those noises. Are you able to do a little bit of that with this one as well?
So we're striving more and more. Like with our first radio productions, we brought a lot of recorded sound effects. A lot of the things that we kind of pre-recorded and played them on the night, but we're more and more trying to do more things live. And I think I can confidently say at the moment we have no recorded sound cues.
Cool.
Everything is live. So even the music that's played is live. So we're endeavoring to do that, and everything's student driven. So that's the other thing that I'm very excited about. We have 3 student stage managers on this one, because we actually need 3 separate cueing entities for different sorts of things. One person is working on Foley sound, one person is conducting a crowd, and one person is working with Brad back in the booth. So we have like a number of, it's a big technical marvel to do radio theater. So we're leaning into that and letting our students drive as much of that as possible.
And that happens at the Rotary Arts Center. Now I know in the past you've been able to do some that actually air on the radio, but obviously rights are sometimes prohibitive on that. Is this one able to air, or is it just
we're
that
going to
night
record
only?
it on the night, and then on Halloween night we'll broadcast it through our YouTube channel.
Okay, there we go. So Rotary Arts Center only has just a little bit over 90 seats, so you want to get your tickets to that very soon. But once it sells out, which it probably will, there's a way to hear it and experience it without that little added visual, which is always nice. I find radio drama in a setting where you can see a little bit of it going on is pretty neat.
It's cool, yeah.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, me too. There's a great group in
special
St. John's who inspired me to do this in the first place. Ladies Who Lunch Productions.
Oh, yes.
And they really, really are keeping radio theater alive in St. John's, and I think if you have a moment to check out their work, they're great.
Yeah.
They work in the horror space, kind of like the horror camp space too, which is a lot of fun, and it's cool.
Yeah, definitely. And that's not all from Open Door this semester, this term. You have a very interesting Christmas project.
Yeah, we've been threatening to do this for a couple of years. We started back in, I can't remember, 2023. Our first Christmas show that year was, we did a Christmas Carol, which is about as traditional as you could get. Last year we did a Grinch Panto, which is skirting getting a traditional place. But we've been for years talking about, Die Hard. And is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Is Die Hard an action movie? What is it? And I've loved the debate for years, and we've decided that we're going to go all in and do Die Hard with children on stage at the Arts and Culture Center. So what it is, it's called Die Hard, a Corner Brook Christmas Panto, and I'm writing it myself. We're changing a few things. It is like a Corner Brook Christmas story in the Die Hard container is the way I'm kind of describing it. So, for example, we've changed a few things, like instead of Nakanomi Tower, it is the Sir Richard Squires building instead of LA. It's Corner Brook instead of New York. It's St. John's instead of the Los Angeles airport. It's Deer Lake Airport. So all of this happens just at the bottom of University Avenue where it meets O'Connell. So that's what I'm trying to get at. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I wanted to do something completely different and something that was as silly as we are at Open Door Theater. Yeah. And so we're going for it. Yeah, we're going to see what happens. Excellent. So I hope you'll come out and see Die Hard. Please come. It's a big risk for us, so please come.
And of course, Panto is a Christmas tradition in the UK in particular. So, it does take those mediums and make them family friendly. It works with parody, which is the key for those who are like, how did they get the rights to Die Hard? Parody is a specific thing that allows for those things to happen. So it better be funny.
It'll be funny. It'll be funny.
But I think it sounds very exciting to me. Of course, it's a little lesser known than Christmas Carol and The Grinch, which were your previous entities in the holiday season. I think Die Hard's as well known as those, but certainly a theatrical experience of Die Hard may be interesting, but I certainly think it's well worth grabbing those tickets. The past 2 years it has sold out.
Yes, it has, yeah.
At the Arts and Culture Center, so it's sure to be a great night, December 20th. Great way to kind of put the bow on the holiday season. Yeah. In a pretty unique way, it sounds like.
Yippee-ki-yay, man! Let's do it. Like you know how it is.
And I guess before we clue things up. Obviously, you teased that brunch is coming up.
Yes.
Open Door, obviously this term's well underway, but I guess registration for the winter will be coming up toward Christmas time.
That's right. We usually open our registration up in November, so if you're interested in joining, we'll have all the details on our social media and on our website. We typically do 2 shows in a term, so it's a good way if you're interested in coming to learn with us. You never ever have to be a part of any of our shows, but if you'd like to be, it's an opportunity that's available to you. So we try to keep our classes and our rehearsals separate, but we do find that most of the folks who come to learn with us, they like being part of our shows in any capacity, whether that means, you know, they're there as a technical person, they're involved in performance, or they could be involved in like the building of the show in some way. So there's ways to get involved with us that don't necessarily mean being on stage.
Yeah, and I think that's a wonderful thing, you know, to have those added opportunities because, and as people grow, you know, I'm sure you've seen it as well in youth theater. You have some of the kids who do the theater when they're younger, then they get older, they're not quite as into going on stage.
Yep.
So having a venue that's like, oh, I could do tech, I could be backstage, I could help out there, is amazing because it lets them keep that thing that they love, even though they're not invested in the going on stage moment as much anymore, which
and
I think is so valuable.
We've got some real crackerjack tech students right now who are like actually very skilled, which
so
has
exciting
been
to
really
see.
helpful for me because it means that it means that I can dream a little bit bigger, and it means that the things that I dream bigger on, they get to have the experience of building something. We figure it out together. You know what I mean? Like my experience is limited in technical theater, but sometimes it's like we're learning together and figuring it out together. So that's been a lot of fun. And this term we have a technical theater class, which I'm kind of teaching with them, and I'm learning as I'm going with them.
Yeah.
But it's been great. We did some stage management work this past 2 classes, and now we're working on props, so we're building wizard grimoires.
Excellent.
Which has been a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's cluing up for us here at the Stage Door. Thanks so much, Adam,
Thank
for
you.
coming on. So, end of October, you have an opportunity to catch War of the Worlds from Open Door Theatre. And December 20th, you have a chance to catch Die Hard from Open Door Theatre at the Arts and Culture Centre, that one is. Also, we have a couple things coming up from us at Canberra Arts. October 25th, we're bringing Wendy Woodland back home. Wendy's doing a cabaret performance that features our kids from grade 1 to 12 in our own space at 110 Humber Road. So obviously all those kids aren't all there at once, but it's going to be cozy, intimate, and I think a pretty special show. And of course, stay tuned for December offerings from Canberra Arts and around the community. There's going to be a lot to see at the holiday season, so take the time to get that planned out and plan your holiday time. We'd like to take a moment to thank our gold level sponsors, Harbour Financial and White & George. They certainly make all of this possible, and it wouldn't happen without them. And we will see you next week back at the Stage Door, presented by Canberra Arts on Rogers TV.
My biggest therapy is Mother Nature. When I walk through the woods, I'm seeing a little bit more than just a tree and just a plant. I see what I can do with it. I make medicines and salves from plants and trees. In 2014, I suffered with a heart attack. Since I had my heart attack, obviously there were some Western medications involved. And on top of the Western medication, I have found myself nature-wise, and medicines provided by Mother Nature has helped me a lot. With nature, I have burned sage and sweetgrass. I find that that cleanses the air and, you know, helps you cleanse your body. It also helps me talk to my ancestors. That has helped me through this whole process. I feel responsible as a Mi'kmaq person to help Mother Nature. We look at everything, whether it is a rock or a tree, as life. When I collect my medicines, I'm offering tobacco to thank the plant for the medicine. So the plant will, give me medicine again the following year. It's a part of the big whole. Right now we're standing in the middle of a boreal forest. I can look around, I can see birch trees. Birch tree, for example, there's so many things you can do with that. That is the tree of life. Aboriginal people have used the bark for making canoes, for making shelter, for fire starting. There's a fungus that grows on birch, it's called chaga. I use that for my tea. It's a very, very good all-around tonic. Balsam fir trees, the blisters on those trees actually were used to heal cuts and scrapes. You cut yourself in the woods, the first thing we'll do is put some balsam fir sap on it. Society now is so fast. I think the world really needs to slow down and just enjoy nature and the smells and the sights and sounds. Well, this is where it all started in the beginning, was from our plants, and our animals and that kind of thing. Why not go back to the beginning and get back to our roots again? It's very important for the Mi'kmaq people to embrace native tradition. For many, many years, we were told not to be Aboriginal, and I think now society has embraced Aboriginal peoples, and we should embrace our history in the sense of traditional medicines and traditional foods. I think it's all a part of the culture that we've lost. So now we have an opportunity to reach out and find ourselves again.
So why volunteer at Rogers TV? Well, it's fun, exciting, and challenging. You can develop practical, hands-on skills in TV production, make new friends, and have fun, all while giving back to your community. For a few hours a week, you can be part of a great team making great local television. Want to find out more? Get in touch with us at rogerstv.com. Make your mark and find a new passion as a Rogers TV volunteer.